It's time for my most highly requested tier list, guys. Today we're going to be covering every single possible thing that a woman can be attracted to. We have everything going from height, looks, status, humor, social skills, every single possible nuance. This list actually took me a long time to make because there were so many things that I missed at first. Let me know in the comments if I missed something. I probably did. And I know black pillars are fucking rubbing their hands, looking at the screen, looking at the first couple things on this list. Ooh, height and looks. I wonder where he's going to rank those. I got you, boys. We're going to go over all of that today. So we're gonna be ranking them on a scale of 2 OP, meaning this shit needs a nerf. It's so overpowered. The developers of the Matrix, they gotta nerf this shit because it's basically an infinite woman glitch. Underneath, we have non-negotiable, which means, I'm sorry guys, you need to have these things. The only times where the things in this category can actually be negotiated is if you have something above it. Below that, we have very attractive, which means, you know, they're not absolutely necessary, but they're definitely a plus. They're definitely gonna make you more attractive as a guy. Below that, we have overrated, which means it matters, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as the internet and people make it out to be. Like, you can honestly get away with not having this at all. And then finally, the tier below that doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So first of all, we have height. And I actually made a poll on my channel saying height matters more on the internet than in reality. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that the majority of you guys actually agreed with me. I won't deny that height matters to the absolute highest degree when it comes to online dating, when it comes to what do women want on paper. All the studies prove this, right? The Bumble, the Tinder experiments, women are constantly filtering for guys in the 6 foot to like 6'4" range. But when you go out in the real world, and I know a lot of people on the internet, especially black pillars, no offense, you guys don't go out that much. I can just tell you guys don't actually go to bars, clubs, social events. You don't actually see men and women interacting in real life. You will see that height matters way less in reality than it does on the internet. And actually it matters way less than women say it does. Now, obviously, height matters from a biological and evolutionary perspective. Women want a guy who looks big and strong because he can protect, and height gives the illusion of physical strength and dominance. That's why women are naturally attracted to height. However, the extent to which height matters is completely overblown. You don't have to be some 6'4", 6'5" guy. In my personal experience and from what I've seen in reality, height only tends to matter most when you're starting to approach the extremes. Let's say you're starting to approach like way below average or way above average. That's when height starts to play a big factor. But if you're anywhere in the range from like average to 6'2", then it's not completely going to kill your dating experience. It's not completely going to turn every woman off from you guys. This is just an internet thing. Obviously, if you're shorter than the girl, yes, it's going to matter. Some girls have different height standards than others. And can we just talk about how, why is it always the shorter girls who want the fucking tallest guys? Like, bitch, you're 5'1". Why are you going for a guy who's 6'5"? That makes no sense. Are you stupid? You're gonna have to climb a ladder just to hook up with him, retard. Every woman has a different height preference, right? And if you're in the average range, chances are you're actually gonna fall into most women's height preferences. And if you don't, there are other things you can do to make up for it. Like, you guys are giving women way too much credit. Like she can somehow look at you and see the exact number. This guy's exactly 6 foot. This guy's exactly 6'1". Dude, if you're 5'10", you go up to a bitch, you can lie about your height. You can say I'm 6 foot and she'll actually believe you, the dumb, stupid bitch. Like, when women talk about height, they actually don't really know what they're talking about. So I'm gonna put height at non-negotiable. It's definitely important. I would be lying to you guys if I said height doesn't matter at all and you can get away. No, it fucking matters. But I would say don't stress too much about height if you're not in any of the extremes. And if you're in the upper extreme, actually, people think like the taller the better. If you're fucking above 6'5", you're actually gonna be attracting a very niche amount of girls. You're pretty much niche maxing at that point because not every girl is into NBA player height, bro. That's a myth. Most are actually into like the 6 foot to 6'4" range, I would say. But if you're slightly below that, let's say you're like 5'9" or 5'10", it's not a complete killer. Yes, the girls who are going for the fucking tall athlete jocks, you're gonna have a much harder time pulling them, but it is what it is, okay? You can just go for other girls. Next up, we have looks, and when I say looks, I'm specifically talking about facial attractiveness. This is also non-negotiable, but it's actually above height. Looks matters way more than height, in my personal experience. You could be a 5'7" guy, but if you have this Chad face with the jawline and like the Canval tilt and the pretty boy and the fucking nice hair and shit, you can still pull 8s and 9s. But both of these factors can make up for each other. So if you're 6'1", you don't need the best face to get hot girls. If you have an insane face, you don't need to be the tallest to get hot girls, right? But if you're both, that's fucking great. Then consider yourself genetically blessed. Facial attractiveness matters a lot, especially for the younger women. Guys, if you're in high school or if you're going through university right now, looks is going to carry until women start looking for other things. And I would also argue attraction based on looks is the most genuine form of desire. Because yes, a woman can be attracted to many other things about you, but you technically are your looks. Also, something that's really interesting is looks and height start to matter less and less the more a woman gets to know you. So there was a study where women were asked to rate men from a scale of 1 to 10. When they didn't know the men, the bell curve was heavily skewed towards like the lower end, right? They found like 90% of men below a 3 or some shit. But as they got to know the men, the bell curve started skewing more towards a normal distribution. It became more fair. Looks and height matter less when it comes to being more familiar with the girl. So make sure you guys use that to your advantage. Now, can you still pull girls if you're not good looking and you're not tall? Yes, but you can only pull them if you have stuff in this category here. Next up, we have status. This is also non-negotiable. And yes, guys, this is my most controversial take yet. I'm putting it above looks and height because status is what maintains a woman's attraction long term. If you have the best looks and the best height, you can hook up with girls, okay? You see the chads in college all the time. Yes, they're hooking up with the 8s, the 9s, and whatever, but they can never keep them because they don't have status. Unless they're in the fucking football team or unless they have some situational status in college, those guys actually tend to have girlfriends. And if you're in a place that's concentrated with chads like university, bro, it's gonna have a bunch of hot girls and a bunch of chads. There needs to be something that differentiates one chad from another. Because think about it, right? If you fucking have 2 chads competing for a woman's attention, which chad is she gonna pick? She's not just gonna say, oh, this guy's like an inch taller, so I'm gonna pick him, or this guy's jawline is slightly better. No, dude. It's the status component. Status matters to women a lot. And status is just being known for something in a situational setting. Whether it be you have prestige at a company, whether it be you're the best player on the team, you're the leader of a club or whatever. Status is how you get known. Status is what gives you social proof. And that social proof is what gets women to recognize you as someone valuable. Next up, we have fame. And this is just so fucking OP, bro. This needs a nerf. It's a fucking infinite money, infinite everything glitch. Your looks can only get you so far, okay? The chads, they're gonna hook up with 8s and 9s, but even then, when the club lights turn on, you sometimes see these chads, you know, you catch them lacking. They're hooking up with fat girls, they're hooking up with 4s and mid chicks. Even chads struggle to keep and attract hot girls sometimes, but you never see a famous guy lacking options. Never. Kevin Hart is short and not the best looking. He gets a shit ton of girls. Other celebrities, short as fuck, they still get 10s. Fame is what's gonna take you from the 7s and 8s to the 9s and 10s, guys. It is what it is. Women are just addicted to fame like a drug. They love the clout. They're attracted to clout the same way moths are attracted to a flame. If you're a guy with millions of followers on IG, millions of subs on YouTube, millions of followers on TikTok or whatever, you're going to have access to so many hot girls. It's crazy. Yes, the chad can pull the occasional 8 or 9 at a fucking frat party, but he doesn't have an employee DMing girls on Instagram for him to qualify them so that they can come see him. That's the level the famous guy's on, guys. There's just levels to this shit. There's something Psychax, aka Dr. Orion Taraban, said on YouTube, which is that being famous as a man is the equivalent of being a woman. If you guys want the same treatment and to see life from the perspective of a woman, just be famous. Women will actually simp over you. The world is going to throw gifts and compliments and love at you, and it's just, fame is a crazy drug. Also, I do want to say, if I had to absolutely pick one, I'm picking fame over looks 100%, because if you have fame and status and you're like 60, you can still pull like hot 20-year-olds. But even if you're the best looking guy, at some point down the line, you're going to lose your looks and you're not going to be able to pull the girls you once did. Think about DiCaprio, bro. Like, his looks are fading. He was really good looking when he's younger. His looks are fading, but he's still consistently bagging 25-year-olds. Yes, it's fucking weird because he's like 60, but next up, masculinity. I'm going to put this at the bottom of non-negotiable. If you don't have a masculine personality, if you don't have masculine frame, it's only a matter of time before she gets turned off by you. Yes, she can date the pretty skinny boy who's all lovey-dovey and shit. Trust me, yes, she's into him because of his chad looks. A breakup is going to happen. One way or another, a breakup's going to happen. Even those guys, those pretty boys, those chads, they can still turn girls off because of a lack of masculinity. I've seen this happen so many times. The guy just gets too needy, too desperate, or the guy just acts like a pussy. She doesn't feel safe and comfortable around him the same way she would a masculine man, and she leaves him. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom of non-negotiable. If you guys don't have the best looks or height, masculine max. Grow a fucking beard, look tough, dress more masculine, and you will get more girls doing that. Muscles, I'm gonna put this at overrated. Now, obviously, women are into lean muscular physiques, okay? And women aside for a sec, everybody should be going to the gym, everybody should be gaining muscle because it's in our masculine nature to get stronger. And why wouldn't you want to improve your health and look your absolute best? However, with that being said, I've seen so many cases where women are into the skinny, tall, pretty boy with no muscles and he still gets more bitches than the guy who's fucking coping gym maxing. I'm sorry, but I've seen that so many times. If you don't get girls and you start going to the gym, it's only gonna get you slightly hotter girls. Women are just not into into muscles as much as men are. You guys have to remember there's a difference between the female gaze and the male gaze. When we look at a guy with muscles, we respect and we admire it because we understand the work that it took in and it's aesthetically pleasing. Women don't see it quite the same way, okay? They're into more nuanced, emotional kind of things. Am I saying it's completely useless? Absolutely not. There's clear evidence that women like a lean, muscular physique, and building muscle is going to help you, but don't think just because you put on some extra muscle and nothing else about you changed that you're gonna go from pulling 5s to pulling 10s. That's not how it works. I did this mistake, okay? I started gym maxing when I was 17 and I was so disappointed. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, dude? Girls are not all over me like I thought they would be. Next, we have physique, and this isn't quite the same as muscles. This is just more about like how your body's built, right? You have wide shoulders, you have narrow clavicles, you have narrow hips, you have the Dorito shape. All of these things matter, and unfortunately, they actually matter more than your muscles. Because remember, guys, if you have too much muscle mass and you look like a fucking roided up bodybuilder, this is actually going to have an inverse relationship with the amount of women that you attract. You're going to attract less and less women. You're going to start entering like the gym girl, the girl who lives in the gym kind of niche. But if you have a lean muscular physique with broad shoulders, narrow hips, and low body fat percentage, you're going to attract a lot of women, and it's actually very attractive to them. Next, we have frame, and if you watched my things that turn her off tier list, one of them was lack of frame control. She has to be entering your world whenever you talk to her. You have to be the one leading, you have to be the one directing. I'm gonna put frame at very attractive. It's not an absolute deal breaker if you don't have the best frame, but it's still going to turn her off long term, and you're gonna start noticing her being less and less attracted to you over time. Next up, we have money, and since this tier list is talking about things that they are attracted to, things that actually turn them on, I'm not going to put money that high. I'm actually going to say that it doesn't matter. Because let's look at the hottest age demographic of women, which is 18 to 24. Most of these chicks are going to be in college or just graduated college. They don't yet understand the value of a guy with a lot of money. They don't care about the Andrew Tate kind of lifestyle, that kind of shit. They're just college girls, bro. You could be a broke ass college student and you have no money. You just have the looks and the status and a little bit of height, and you will pull 10s, you will pull 9s in university campus. When women start to get older, that's when they realize the value of money. However, they're still not attracted to the money. Remember that shit, okay? Don't be like, yeah, bro, I got the fucking money, bro, I can get girls. No, they're going to classify you in the beta provider category if you lead with your wallet. Because remember, women are opportunists and they categorize men based on what the man can provide them. If you have a lot of money, they're going to put you in the provider category. They're going to rinse you for your resources, and they're still going to fantasize about the Chad and still want to have sex with him. That's the truth about money. That's why I put that it doesn't matter at all. Now, of course, you should have money for yourself, but never lead with it. Never show it off to women, because they also don't really understand what the balance in your bank account actually means. They're fucking retarded with numbers. Like, I'm a math major and there's fucking 2 women in my degree. However, money can help you leverage something else which is attractive to women, and that's the next thing, which is lifestyle. Lifestyle is very attractive, guys. If a woman's seeing that you're traveling a lot, you're having so much fun, you're going to the Bahamas, you're on a jet ski, you're skydiving the next day, you're out with a bunch of women, you're having these fancy dinners, this is going to raise their interest, even if they're in the lower age group, because women have shiny object syndrome. They want to try new things, and lifestyle is the biggest shiny object you can flex. I'm going to put charisma at very attractive. It's definitely something that's a bonus. You know, if you're a very charismatic guy, you're able to inspire a lot of emotions in her, you're just charming. That's great, but unfortunately, it's much harder to be charismatic if you don't have the things above. So if you don't have any of these things, I wouldn't prioritize charisma. I'd prioritize masculinity maxing, status maxing, and if you can, fame maxing. If you really want the 10s, fame maxing is your best bet if you're not fucking 10 out of 10 Chad. But also, you can get away with not being the most charismatic guy if you have the things above. That's just how powerful they are. I've seen so many Chads, they have no mouthpiece, no game, but they still end up getting with the girl. The problem is that they can't keep her, and charisma is going to help you keep her. Next up, we have humor. This is very attractive. I'm actually going to put it at the top because making her laugh is the best way to make her fall in love. A lot of you black pillars call it jester maxing or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck that was. I had to search it up when someone commented it, but you're not a jester when you have humor. What you're actually doing is you're taking her on an emotional roller coaster. You're creating a fun vibe. You're teasing her. If you have the right kind of humor, which I'm going to break down in a different video, it's extremely attractive. And it's one of the few things that, if done right, can actually reduce her looks and height requirements for you. Next up, social skills. This is non-negotiable, guys. The ability to talk to girls, the ability to not be awkward, to be able to create the right vibe, extremely important, okay? I know so many good looking guys that get in their own way and reject themselves because when we go out with them, they're just on their phones checking the weather app. They're not able to talk to girls. They're not able to get in a flow state. All social skills is the ability to get in a flow state and not be in your head. If you're in your head, you're gonna fuck up. Women are gonna lose interest for you even if you have the looks and the height, and you're gonna really limit your potential. How do you develop the social skills? It's all exposure therapy. The more women you talk to, the better you're gonna get at talking to women, okay? You can watch as many videos as you want about what to say, the right dynamic to create. Go out, practice, and fuck up. Yes, I'm telling you to fuck up, because in the first 10 girls you talk to, you're gonna be shit, okay? When I was younger, I had to go through this fucking awkward phase of, hey, so what are you doing tomorrow? And then I'm thinking in my head, I don't know what to say. How do I reply to this? What do I say? The more women you talk to, the more you're gonna understand how to talk to them. It's a skill just like anything else. You're not gonna be a fucking amazing programmer in the first month of programming. It's gonna take you years. It's the same thing with your social skills. Next up, confidence. This is not the same thing as social skills, but it definitely does affect your social skills. Confidence is just being congruent within yourself, knowing who you are, knowing your skill sets, and having the belief that if you set your mind to something, you can do it, okay? So you need confidence to have social skills, so I'm also going to put this at non-negotiable. Next up, we have intelligence, and unfortunately, this doesn't matter. Trust me, guys, I was a nerd growing up. The nerds never pull, okay? Being the smartest guy doesn't really help with women. Yes, you can pull other girls who are nerds, but think about it, bro. It's the chads, it's the jocks, it's the guys who are kind of fucking dumb who get the hottest girls, okay? The intelligent guys never win with women. Their minds are too based in reality. Women find them boring because only intelligent people find other intelligent people smart, and most women are unfortunately not intelligent, so they're going to be turned off and bored by a really smart guy. It is what it is. And I'm by no means saying I'm fucking Charles Darwin or anything. If you're an intelligent guy, it might be a good idea to actually dumb yourself down when you're talking to girls. Next up, we have pre-selection. This is fucking OP, almost as OP as fame. Well, if you're famous, you also have pre-selection. What pre-selection means is that she sees other women want you. This offsets everything else. You could be short, you could be ugly, but if a woman walks in a room and sees other 10s fucking staring you down and trying to flirt with you, immediately it's going to create attraction in her head. Women are groupthink creatures. Women do not think for themselves. They think based on what other women want. So if other women want you, she immediately sees value there without questioning it. Other women want him, there must be a reason for that. Pre-selection is so fucking OP. If you guys go to the mall, it's a night and day difference when you go by yourself compared to when you go with a hot girl. If you go by yourself, no one's looking at you. You're just a normal guy at the mall. You go with your girlfriend, now all of a sudden you have girls staring you down. You have girls looking at you. Pre-selection is so fucking OP. Next up, personality. Doesn't matter. Your personality itself and who you are unfortunately doesn't matter as much as the emotions that you can create in her. So how you make her feel matters way more than your actual personality and the things that make you you and the hobbies that you do. It's all about the emotions that you can create in her. Next up, your character. Unfortunately, this doesn't matter. Until I hear a woman say, oh my god, I'm so turned on by the character on him, I'm never gonna put this higher. But obviously you should have good character. I don't need to explain why. Next up, being religious. This doesn't matter as well. I actually find that being religious turns 99% of women off. Obviously there's the exception who are religious and will want a religious man because it's human nature to be sinful and attracted to things that we shouldn't do and things that are bad. And being this good, virtuous, religious guy, as much as I respect and admire it and as much as that's the path that I want to go down, the hottest women actually find it boring and unattractive. Because have you guys ever noticed the presence of women tends to like inspire sin and bad things? Like men go to clubs and drink for women. Men oftentimes indulge in bad things for women. So unfortunately, women just are not turned on or attracted to religious men. If you're religious, that's great. Make sure you go for a religious girl who's also on the same morals and principles that you're in, or you're just gonna struggle. Next, we have emotional strength. This is also fucking OP. Most guys these days are way too needy for girls. They're way too simpy. They have no emotional strength. They can't tell when a girl's manipulating them. And unfortunately, this lowers their desire for you because when you can be emotionally controlled and manipulated by them, they start to lose respect for you. And they start to feel unsafe around you because they're like, if I can manipulate him, anyone can manipulate him. This guy's weak. Being emotionally strong and being able to let her go is going to help you win in the long term and actually keep and maintain her. Because the looks and height, that's all superficial shit. That's all going to get your foot in the door. What's going to keep her is what you're made of on the inside as a man. That's what's actually going to keep her. And don't be fooled. Every woman is going to test your emotional strength. Every woman is going to see what you're made of long term. She's going to do things like pull away. She's going to give you shit tests. She's going to put you in difficult situations. If you're not able to pass these things with flying colors, her attraction is going to drop and she's already going to start looking for the next guy. Next up, we have ambition. This is pretty overrated. When women say, I really want a guy who's ambitious, what they really mean is I want a guy who has the potential to make a lot of money and be a provider for me. They're not really attracted to your ambition for you as a person. It's more about, does this guy have an opportunity to be a provider for me? And usually when women see that you're an ambitious guy, they actually make you wait. Like the broke Chad who has no ambition, she's gonna let him hit on the first night. When you have ambition, she makes you wait because she's worried that like, oh, you're gonna be rich in the future and you're gonna leave her. So she basically manipulates you with this illusion of purity to get you to chase her and to basically secure your resources and your survival value. Next up, we have race. And this is actually underratedly, I don't know where I'm gonna put this. It's one of these two. I'm gonna put it at non-negotiable, man. Some women have a very strong race preference. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's studies and it's so evident. White girls are much more likely to go for white guys. People are more likely to date within their own race, black to black, Asian to Asian, etc. Now, this is a pretty controversial subject, but I'm just gonna tell you guys the truth. If you're white, you're going to have a higher chance with all of the other races, including Asian, including Latina, especially where I live. It's such a white area that like, I just noticed that the white boys, the guys who grew up in suburbs in Canada and US and shit, they have a much easier time getting the hottest chicks. So race does matter, but I'd probably put it at the bottom of non-negotiable just because it doesn't really define your dating life. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't have an impact. Next up, we have being romantic. Doesn't matter. I'd actually recommend you don't be romantic because men are the true romantics, women are not. Don't let them fool you when they say they want flowers and chocolates and to be spoiled. That's all a fairy tale Disney movie illusion. The second you do those things is the second that she starts to feel like she's above you and the second that she starts to take you for granted. Am I saying don't be romantic at all? Obviously, if you're dating a girl, you're gonna have to do nice gestures for her. You're gonna have to buy her stuff. That's completely fine. Just don't be over the top emotional and romantic. It actually turns them off. Next up, being edgy / the bad boy. Very, very attractive. If you're the guy cracking controversial jokes, if you're the guy she can't take anywhere, you're edgy, you always get in trouble, this is a huge turn on for women because like I said, they always want a problem to fix, and being a bad boy, you're a problem. They want to change you into the good guy, but the second you change, they leave you. This is why if you're the bad boy kind of person, never change. Keep being the bad boy even when she tries to change you, because women have this fantasy of like the guy who's a monster, the guy who's bad or whatever, but he's only nice to them. He's only good for them. He also displays characteristics like masculinity, like confidence, assertiveness, etc. These guys are usually cocky. These guys usually talk about themselves and brag, etc. And I'm gonna put being a problem right next to it for the exact same reason. Next, we have Stoicism. This is overrated. It's not quite the same thing as emotional strength because a lot of people who embody the Stoic philosophy tend to just be very boring people. Oh, I'm so stoic. I have no emotions. I can't show her anything. I'm just this rock solid guy. I'm just a rock. Dude, you have to have emotion in your voice. Your tone has to display emotion. There needs to be some flavor in your personality, okay? A lot of stoic people are just boring to women. You should be stoic on the inside, but not stoic on the outside, if that makes sense. Next up, competence. This is probably at the top, I don't know, top of very attractive or bottom of non-negotiable. I'll put it at the top of very attractive because competence also signals masculinity. If she has a physical problem and you don't know how to fix it, like changing a tire or like there's a plumbing issue and you don't know how to fix it, it's not a complete deal breaker, but it does turn her off. Women are attracted to competent men who know how to fix and solve shit. Next up, we have social proof. This is technically the same as pre-selection, so I'm gonna put it at 2 OP. But I guess social proof also means that not only do other women like you, guys also like you, which is a pretty big bonus too. Next, we have fashion. This is kind of overrated. I know guys who dress horribly, they don't have any fashion at all and they still get girls. And if you have like a good physique and a good frame, most clothes are actually going to fit you quite well and look quite good on you. Next up, experience. Very attractive. Reason I'm not putting it higher is because you can kind of fake experience. Like women want a guy who's experienced with women, but if you're not, you can always pretend that you are. You don't have to go out and tell her, hey, by the way, you're actually the first girl I'm talking to. I'm actually a virgin. Like, don't say that shit if you are. Just Keep it cool, keep it player. Next, we have patience. This is a non-negotiable. So many of you guys lose girls because you want things to move and progress too quickly. You just started talking to her, you want to take her out on a date. You just started talking to her, you're already planning on making her your girlfriend by week 3. Slow things down. Let the timeline extend, okay? If you guys don't talk for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that's perfectly fine, okay? Keep things long term. Don't try to rush it. If you want to hook up, just pay for pussy. Either pay for pussy or hook up with a girl who's easy to get with. But if you want the high quality girls, you're going to have to exercise some patience. You're going to have to play a longer game. Next, we have being offensive. This is also very attractive for the same reason being the bad boy is attractive. When you offend her, you engage her emotions. You create not only good experiences, but bad experiences too, as opposed to the nice guy who only makes her feel good. He only plays it safe because he's scared to lose her. When you're offensive, it shows that you don't give a fuck and you are who you are. So it's very attractive. Next up, we have selfishness. Top of very attractive. Women only want you when you want yourself, okay? You have to be obsessed with yourself. You have to be almost narcissistic because they perceive that as, this guy is so about himself, I'm not going to take him off his purpose. He's probably going to make a shit ton of money and I can't deviate him from that path. I feel safe when I'm around him. Women absolutely love selfish guys as much as they say, I want a guy who's all about me. Bullshit. Next, we have good listener. I'm going to put this at overrated. It still kind of matters, like, don't just only talk about yourself and not listen. But when women say they want a good listener, it doesn't fucking matter nearly as much as they say it does. Next up, we have being a mystery. This is very attractive. If you signal to the woman that you're very busy, you don't have a lot of time to reply, she's always going to be wondering what you're doing. It also engages her emotions. I think you guys are seeing a theme here, engaging her emotions, right? Next, we have being cold, and this actually turns a lot of women off. Like, you guys need to have some coldness in you, but you can't be way too cold because you have to give them something, right? You have to feed them scraps at the very least. You can't just be completely fully cold because then she's going to be cold back, okay? So this actually turns them off, but I'm going to put it at doesn't matter.